Hi, this is Jared with RDS, and today I'm going to instruct you on how to physically swap the internal card that is currently in your printer with the card and cable that we sent you. First, the tools you're going to need, right over here, you're going to need 2 screwdrivers. One a regular size Phillips head, one a smaller sized flathead screwdriver for some of the cabling screwing in that we need to do. You're also going to need the cable and the card provided by us, and a container to hold on to some loose screws. First step you're going to want to do, turn the power to the machine off. It's going to be found with the power button underneath here. Turn it in the off position. Our next step, powering off the soft check printer, and finally disconnecting the wires plugged into the back. The power cable is the skinny black wire. You just pull up on it, it comes right out, and the parallel cable is held in by 2 clips. Pull the clips outwards and pull the cable off. Okay. Alright. Our next step, we're actually going to flip the printer over so you're looking at the bottom of it, and turn it around so that the power button is actually facing you. Here you're going to see a little panel held on with a little Phillips screw. We're actually going to remove this screw. And then remove this panel. Okay, in here there are 2 what we call banks of dip switches. You're going to see DSW1 and DSW2. You can kind of see how it's marked outside of the printer and how it corresponds with those banks of switches inside the printer. Okay, basically all we're going to change are the switches on DSW1. Switches 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7 need to be in the on position. And what we mean by in the on position is basically if with the printer in this position here, the switches would be moved towards you. And it actually is labeled on the outer black part of this of the bank where it says on. So we need 2, 3, 5, 6, and 7 in the on position. Alright, so 1, 4, and 8 are in the off position or facing away from you. Okay, once that's done, we replace the little panel, and then we replace the screw. Now at this point, we're actually going to take the card that's currently in this printer out and put in the new one. Okay, so looking at the back of the printer, these 2 outer screws are the screws that hold this card in place. So we need to remove these 2 screws. Put in our little container here so we don't lose them. And now this card is ready to be removed. You just grab them by the clips or the outer edges here and just pull up. Now notice how this was previously seated in the printer, because this new card is going to go in exactly the same way. You see this little black connector here actually plugs into the connection inside there. Okay, if you don't have it in the right way, it won't sit in there tight, and you'll know basically that it's not in there correctly. So we grab our new card and we want to install it the same exact way. Okay, and you can see the holes are lined up, and you just push it in a little, and now it's in nice and tight. Okay. Now we're going to replace the 2 outer screws to secure this card. And then the next step will be connecting the serial cable provided by us. If you look at the edge of the cable here, you're going to have to line it up with the connection on the printer. So it's actually going to be almost upside down in a way. It goes in nice and secure there. This is when the flathead screwdriver comes into play. We just need to tighten these outer screws to make sure that this cable never becomes disconnected. Okay. At this point, we can set the printer back down to its normal resting position. And then we're going to lift up on the bottom of the machine. There's only one spot that this cable can be plugged into, and that port is going to be labeled Comm 3. Placed like so. And we set, before I set the terminal back down, this cable now is no longer of any use to us. You can just unscrew this with your fingers here. Pull this out. Set it aside. And now the machine can be placed back in its normal resting position. Okay? And then the last step, plugging the power cable back in the printer, which has mistakenly fallen underneath the table for me. But it's simply the little black skinny power cable plugs back into here. Printer set back down. Turn the printer back on. Turn the machine back on. And then test by running a report just to make sure that the printer works. That concludes how to replace the serial cable and card for a printer.